Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. This is our second annual post lead recap for Leading the Way, What We Learned and Why It Matters. My name is Jen Gangwish. I'm with NWPMA, and I'm incredibly excited to host today's conversation alongside our partner associations, including AzPPA, PMANC, RMA, and then SAAC. Today is really just about pulling the curtain back on what LEAD is, why advocacy matters to our industry, and hopefully make it feel a little more approachable for everyone who may be curious about how to get involved in the future. One of the things that really stood out to me the most this year during LEAD was realizing how important our industry is to have a voice. The promotional products industry, or now that we're changing that to the branded merchandise industry, supports thousands of small businesses, jobs, suppliers, decorators, and communities across the country. And all of those stories deserve to be heard. So this won't feel like a formal presentation and is meant to be an open and honest conversation. We want you guys to share real experiences, hear from the lessons we learned, and hopefully encourage more people to feel confident to join us next year. We also want this to be interactive. So if you have any questions during any time, feel free to speak up. You can drop your questions in the chat. We will have a designated Q&A at the end of the session as well. I'd like to remind everybody, if you could please stay muted, just so we don't hear any background noise. And for everybody who's going to be on until the end of the session, you will earn a 1.5 CEU credit today. So with that, I'd love to kick things off by having our panelists introduce themselves, sharing a little bit about themselves, their name, the company, how long they've been in the industry, and if this was their first time or their 10th time going to LEAD. So let's, and Brenda, let's get it kicked off with you.
Awesome. So Brenda Speirs, my distributorship is Buzztag out of Bend, Oregon. I've been in the industry, I think I'm pushing 30 years, although I don't like to admit it. I'm also the founder of the Ripple Collective, which is a community of mastermind groups for leaders in distributorships in our industry. This was my very first lead. I didn't really know this opportunity existed. I think I'd kind of heard about it, read about it on the periphery. I decided to jump in when I got the email this year, and I can't even begin to tell you how amazing this was and impactful. So I hope I encourage a few people, first timers, to join next time.
Thank you. Ray.
Hi there. There's an echo going on there. Does anyone else hear that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ray Chang. This is my second year that I went to Leeds, and it was an amazing experience both times. I think it was different both times, but the second time was especially, I think, wonderful because we had some of the same team: Linda, Sanja, David Berger, and we really got to meet all the other regionals as well. So I thought it was nice to go into Washington as a team, and we knew each other, and we really had it down, and we really knew what we were doing, and I thought it was great.
Thank you, Ray. Sorry about the echo, but we definitely heard your message loud and clear.
Multiple times.
Sanjay, how about you?
Oh, hi. My name is Sanja Kotia, and I work with the supplier, Snugz, USA. We are in Utah, but I work from home remotely in California. That lead was my second time, and I was so excited. I mean, I think I told several people, or I'm widely known in my company as, it's my Disneyland. Washington, D.C. is my Disneyland, kind of, meeting members of Congress and talking about them. Some of them, my own representatives, in Southern California. So it's absolutely a valuable experience. It's actually enforces the advocacy part of it in branded merchandise industry, and our lobbyist TRP has been tremendously helpful and very well known within Washington circle. So yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I would love to go over and over again.
Thank you. And I can't see everybody's faces, so I'm just going to call on a few other people that I hope are here. They're supposed to be on the panel. Sydney. Danny. Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Kittlitz. I belong to the PMANC organization here in Northern California. I'm based in San Francisco. I am an independent distributor, having my business 36 years come June. And this was my second time to go to lead in DC, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience once again. I highly recommend it for anyone that hasn't been. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Our team, Ray, Sanja, and others that were on the team that are not present today. We even had a woman from Connecticut, I think, wasn't she?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Was the only one from Massachusetts. So that was unique, but highly recommend it.
Thank you. Ashleigh?
Hi, I'm Ashleigh. I'm with Raven Printing and we're based out of Colorado. I'm with RMR. This was my first year going to DC for lead, and it was a super cool experience. I had no idea what to expect going out there. I just wanted to go eyes wide open. But I think for me, my biggest takeaway was just learning about how what did they call them? Fly-ins are done in DC, and how we truly do have a voice for our industry and other important matters. But I really enjoyed it. It was a cool first experience, and I look forward to hopefully going in years to come.
Thank you, Ashleigh. David. Mark. Mark, can you hear me?
It says Mark's here.
I think, Mark,
Okay.
you need to turn your microphone on.
Yeah, Ray, I think the reason you are echoing is because you have 2 accounts open.
Is this better now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mark. Thank you.
Hi, my apologies. My car was trying to connect. Anyway, sorry for the.
It's okay.
Mark
We're
Shinn
just
with Extenders West. I've been lucky enough. I started this 15 years ago and had a chance to go most all these years back to Washington, D.C. So excited about all the people on the call today and the folks that have joined us over the last couple of years. There's a lot of passion in this industry, and it's showing. And we really appreciate you putting this together, Jen and Shay.
Thank you. And with that, my name again is Jen. This was my second time going to lead. I too felt more confident going into it. We had a lot of the same group, which just made the time there a little more special. I've been in the industry going on 13 years this year, and I currently work for a distributor called College Hill. But what I'm most excited about is the collaboration amongst our regionals here, and that has been a true effort of PPAI over the years. And so everybody has a different reason for why they join either regionals or why they volunteer for the different events that come in, such as lead. And I just really want to say is like, what's really cool about this is the instant community that we have, industry professionals who understand the promo grind and have your back. We get to learn from each other. We get exposure to things we've never been exposed to. For me, it was my first time ever going to DC and walking through the Senate halls and tunnels underground, and that was really cool. But just there's opportunities everywhere. So if you're feeling a little shy, you don't know where to step in, this is your space right here. They're your regionals, your leaders. They're the ones that are going to help advocate and pull you in that right direction. So please take a moment, really learn about your regional in your area and get involved, because we're excited to have everybody, and collectively we're stronger together than we are individually. With that being said, I think this tees up the next section perfectly, no pun intended. But I wanted to give Mark a chance, as he expressed, he's been going to lead for 15 years. And so I think he would be the perfect person to really explain what lead is and why these conversations matter. And so I'm going to turn the floor over to Mark. He's going to give a brief overview of lead, the key discussions and initiatives that we discussed while we were there, and then just the broader impact that the branded merchandise industry has collectively as a whole. So all yours, Mark.
Well, thank you. And there'll be some screens that are popping across here in front of everybody here. But part of what came together a little over 15 years ago, I was a part of some leadership groups for a lot of these associations on the call, whether it's PMANC, SAAC, RMR, etc. And we had a little challenge with the pharmaceutical industry promo products we were trying to deliver, and PPAI had rekindled this initiative to have government relations involved. And so a few people got involved and started visiting. I think there was 15 to 20 or so back in the first couple of years that visited, because our industry took a hit. In some numbers estimated it was over $1 billion that was lost when the promo industry kind of got hit from pharmaceutical advertising restrictions that were put on us. And so we've now, over the years, saying we're not going to take a break anymore, and we're going to continue to be engaged. What happened, what I found these first couple of years, I definitely had a little intimidation of all things. I've been in sales my whole life, but going back there and visiting you'd be visiting with your neighbors. You are a part of your communities. This is where your representatives come from. The staff in their offices, they went to your high schools. I mean, you could talk about things that are literally going on in your home community as you're bringing our industry message back to them. So part of what Jen teed up here was the associations that we have across the country. I believe there's now 26 across the country, and each one has unique opportunities to integrate into the local offices of the congressional offices and the senators from each state. So there's obviously 2 senators from each state and a number of representatives, depending on obviously the size of the state that they may have. And we try to engage with the ones that have a unique entree into some of the issues and initiatives we're working with. So this year we had over 60 people attend. I think our meeting count was in the neighborhood of about 200, to where we're meeting all the way across the Capitol steps. We're meeting with their staff members, and many times you do get a chance to meet with the representatives. This says over 100 meetings, but many of them were anywhere from sit-down meetings with 12 people in them. We had PPAI join us for a couple of the ones where we had a senator in the office with us. Sometimes you're meeting with a staff member. It may be literally just in the hallway, but they are receptive to us. We are very well organized thanks to our partners back there in Thorn Run Partners that help us to organize our meetings and our talking points. And PPAI has helped us with these initiatives. So we have these talking points that are down. We can literally do the elevator speech if we need to, but hopefully we get a good 15 to 20 minutes with each staff there. Part of the things that we worked on initially, like I said, was the pharmaceutical challenges that we had for branding, where pharma would put the brakes on, be it Post-it notes or whatever we couldn't get into that channel with anymore. But early on, we were talking about things like the independent contractor, which is very important to our industry. We talked about different tax situations all across the way and how they affect our industry. And most recently, our main discussions over these last couple of years have been on the tariffs and what happened. We had some stories about some of our industry practitioners were hit with like a $10,000 hit in Q4 of last year with the tariff programs that came down. Some of them, let's just add a couple zeros to it. Some of these companies were really impacted. And we think that we're part of that groundswell that helped to steer back. Obviously, we had a little help from the Supreme Court over the recent months, but we help to steer back that discussion to where what they do and what they don't do sometimes affects these practitioners across the country. And there is some estimates that we are now well over 1 million people that are participating in our industries. 97% are involved in small business, and everybody back there wants to hear about small business successes and so on. So I hope I touched on most of the points, Jen, that we talked about here. There's much more information that will be sent out to you through Shay and others. The screen that's now up on the board is the impact that we actually have inside each of these individual states, and some of them are skewed. There's no doubt about it. There's some very large companies in Washington State, a certain t-shirt company and a couple of distributorships, et cetera, that affect these numbers in a big way. But we all know, even though it appears in one state, a lot of this business is nationwide. You know, obviously, the large one, Sanmar, you know, is nationwide in all of their different locations and so on and so forth. It just happens to show up in Washington State. So every one of our 50 states plus the territories across the country are all involved. And we are truly an international association too, because there's so many more suppliers and distributors that have branches around the world because they know how worldwide our business has become. So here's just an example again of how each state is kind of laid out with regards to suppliers and distributors and the impact that's there. The number of employees is so very important too, because these are all constituents of our representatives when we go back to the office. So we want to make sure that our message gets sent on the true head count and impact that they have for their decisions back there. So thank you, Jen. If there's anything else I need to touch on, let me know.
Yeah, no, I think you did great. And Drew had joined us as well with PPAI and just really has changed how we show up. You know, we're now want to be seen as a branded merchandise, not just promo products, because merchandise has a different connotation to it. It has different meaning and impact. And that's what we're really trying to celebrate, is the impact that branded merchandise has across the country globally.
One other point I'd like to throw in there, part of what you're touching on is every one of those people that are visiting the congressional offices back there is supported by our industry. Whether it's the Pancreatic Cancer Association, whether it's the home builders, whether it's the mechanical contractors, every one of them is supported by our industry with the product they bring in, the branded merchandise, to support their initiatives. So I just want to touch on that.
Yeah, and then to go into that a little more too, we also went back there and had a huge message that our global supply chain supports American jobs, and like we need these partners, and the effects that these tariffs and trades are having are even affecting our big suppliers like Sanmar, who is hesitant to continue expanding operations in these other countries because they're not certain if they're going to be able to operate in these countries in a few years. So those are just kind of the conversations we're having. And it's really cool to see like $1 billion company like Sanmar sitting right next to me being a little small distributor, helping fight that fight with us. So those are some of the talking points, specifically AGOA, which is really important right now, and then USMCA trade frameworks. And
the AGOA is it's the initiative through the African continent, and what some companies like Sanmar has done to open up some manufacturing opportunities that really are in support of our industry. They're able to open up many and build whole communities inside some of these other cities and countries, and we want to keep those initiatives going.
Exactly, while still supporting and creating jobs back here in America.
Yes.
So again, it's just that partnership, and it's like we're all in this together, which just brings us back to even our regionals. We're all in this together. It doesn't matter what size company we're all fighting those same battles.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate your time, just in our industry, but specifically with LEAD itself. You're a vet. You take us under your wing every single year. You make us newbies feel really warmed and welcome. So I just want to say thank you. You've had a big impact on this, and we will make sure that it continues to live on as well.
My pleasure. Thank you.
With that, I would love to transition just into the panel discussion. I we have a few questions, and we want to give everybody an opportunity to speak because we all pulled out different things from the time that we were there. And we hope that this inspires either some questions and or gets you excited to join the fight with us throughout the entire year, because it's not just lead where we're having these conversations. Lead is what gets us in some of these rooms, but we have to take that back home and advocate and do more with what we have. So with that being said, thank you for the panel for joining today. I'm just going to start off by asking, what's in, Brenda, I'll start with you, since admittedly this was your first year. What surprised you the most about your first year and the advocacy process in general?
Yeah, so it was incredibly organized, which was absolutely delightful, right? So as you walk into this, you're a little bit nervous being a newbie. You don't know what to expect, but PPAI did an amazing job of organizing it, organizing the groups by territory. I was fortunate enough to be paired with Mark and Jen. So I had people who were really knowledgeable in my group, who were able to be the face of the conversation as it was initiated in each of our meetings. And having that comfort of someone who already knew what to say and kind of how to position that was incredibly powerful. It helped me learn what to do for the next time. It also didn't put pressure on me to feel like I had to jump in and know these things that I just wasn't really comfortable with right away. So, just the organization of it, and then the way we met with each of the groups of each of the different offices, how kind, thoughtful, and generous they were, how they really listened. They took copious notes about everything we were talking about. And so, overall, it was just an incredibly powerful, event to participate in. And I can't wait to do it every year. Jen, you're on mute.
All right. Yep. Love it. Thank you, Brenda. And we're glad to have you back every year. You did phenomenal in those rooms as well. Ashleigh, let's hear from you.
Okay, so I think for me being a newbie first timer, the most surprising part was really just the process of how all of this works. I didn't even know fly-ins existed until going to DC, and I'll kind of piggyback off of what Brenda was saying. The organization of the event was just amazing, like phenomenal. I walked in having no idea what to expect, which in turn makes you a little bit nervous. But we knew where to go. We were kept updated at every turn. There were lots of changes to schedules, like the day of, which is totally normal. But each of our groups had, and I forget the group out there that they're a part of, but they were amazing at just keeping everything coordinated. I personally was really happy that we sat down as a group prior to kind of discuss some of those talking points, because again, being new, I was really nervous about not having anything to say in the meetings. And our very first meeting, Josh was like, all right, Ashleigh, you're up, because we're in Colorado. And I was like, oh my gosh. But the preparation that PPI did for us prior, it helped me feel super comfortable sitting in those meetings. And the people, all the staffers were amazing. I second all of them taking copious amounts of notes, which in turn just really made you feel good, because I think going into these experiences, you kind of wonder, like, are they actually listening to me, or like, do they actually care? Like, I'm just kind of another small fish in the sea. But hearing how concerned and open they are to some of these changes and wanting to make a difference with us, alongside of it happening in other industries, like it was a very common, oh yeah, we've heard this, like totally understand, sort of comment back, which also was really cool to hear that like we're not the only industries that are advocating for ourselves in these ways.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And to piggyback off that a little bit is like, does it really matter? Are they really listening? What impact are we having? Being my second year, what surprised me is people remembered me from last year. I was like, wait a minute, like, how do I sat in here for 10 minutes and they still recognize me. I was like, that was a really cool meet. To me, it showed they do care. We do have an impact and we got to keep showing up.
Agreed.
Thank you for sharing. Ray, how was your time? I know it's not your first.
No, so I had a very similar experience my first time with Ashleigh, that Ashleigh and Brenda had. But the second time, I kind of went in a little more empowered. Like, we're a big group. We've got a lot of voice. We've got a lot of people. We are a huge advocate for small business. So my attitude was a little more, what can we do for you to help get things done? So last year we talked to the interns, and one of the interns actually came back and asked for some numbers from our group, SAAC, and I thought it was or actually I think Rachel got some numbers for him. But it was very empowering to go in there knowing that we've got a large group. We've been coming for 15 years. We make a difference. We can be a game changer for you if you need. And so it was a really cool thing to go in a little more empowered the second time. And of course, I had Sanja on my team, and Sanja knows everybody. So it was like, okay, we always had Sanja like, who's that? Who's that? And it was great. And then Linda came back last year. So we came back in large part as a team. We had a Massachusetts person, but we did. I thought we were mostly the team from last year, and it was really nice to go in there with experience, and we knew how to hand off the stories. It was really it was great both times, and I think it's important that we keep doing that because some of it is not, let's change it right now. It's not immediate, but in the long run, we're here. We're letting them know we're here. We're a big group. We're a powerful group. We're here. And to go every year does make a difference, even if it feels like we didn't change anything this year. We are. We're holding ground. We're letting them know we're here.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. What made me feel more confident going to the second year was the numbers that they put out right before. Like, I didn't even realize how much of an impact our industry had. And when I saw those numbers, I was like, hey, we're a bigger fish than I thought we were. Like, we belong here. And so I think seeing that, and that's part of PPAI, just being more transparent and sharing that information with us, then gave us more confidence going into some of these conversations as well. Totally agree.
Absolutely. And
Okay,
I just
yeah,
want to
go
say
ahead.
TRP was great. It makes a huge difference having a lobbyist group that knows not Hollywood, that knows Washington well, to take us through. It was great. Our guides were great.
Thorn Run, I think is her name. Absolutely agree with you. Okay, well, I'm going to move on to the second question. Why is it important for small businesses, just all business owners in general, and industry professionals to participate in conversations around policy, trade, and advocacy? And Linda, I'm going to start with you on this one, if you're okay with that. Is Linda still here?
See people like me to see that there is a real person that actually is trying to support herself.
Linda, may I ask if you come closer to the speaker, or I'm not sure is only me or everybody just we can't hear you. I think it's completely gone now. Linda, I think is your connection okay? I'm not sure.
All right, Linda, we'll come back to you. Brenda, I'm going to tee you up on that one, and then we'll get back to Linda when her volume's working.
Yeah. So, as a small business, there's so much that goes on outside of us that we don't have any control over. And sometimes you don't even have the awareness. And I feel like participating in this lead event just brought it all to the forefront. It made me feel, as many have pointed out the same word, but empowered. I feel very empowered now to reach out to my state representatives and connect with them prior to going to lead next year, forming those relationships, and then having the ability to reach out to them and meet with them in any capacity. And I don't think, I'm pretty positive, I never would have had the sense that I could do that before attending this event, right? It definitely put that in my wheelhouse. And I feel like as a business owner, I've been able to leverage this when we've done account reviews with our larger customers. They're like, okay, shipping's out of control, prices are out of control. What can you do to help me? Which, it's out of control for us as well. But then being able to say, I just went to DC and I spoke with our representatives and we're on the forefront of these issues and we're fighting for you and for ourselves and for our industry as a whole, I think is incredibly powerful as well.
Agree with you, Brenda. Thank you for sharing. Linda, can we hear you now?
I hope so. Can you?
Yeah.
Better?
Yes.
All right. Like I said, I think seeing someone that is an independent and talking to them, what happened then? I don't know.
You're good.
All right. Anyway, just shows them that, there are people out there that are trying to make a living and that, all of these things really do matter. I mean, the tariffs, the cost. I'm competing with other businesses. I mean, I'm competing with larger firms than myself, especially here in San Francisco, because I deal a lot with the city and county of San Francisco, and I'm always competing on bids. So to be in business now 36 years is an accomplishment. And that's what I told them. And yet I gave examples of where branded merchandise is important. And I gave those examples to each of the representatives' offices that we were in, and to show them where branded merchandise is important. So, that was what I felt my contribution was. And I enjoyed being there. I don't know if I'll be going back again because I have a problem walking the distances we walked, but I enjoyed being there thoroughly.
Thank you, Linda. We appreciate having you there as well. And I definitely remember your stories from last year too. So thank you for coming back this year. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question because I think this one is really important, and really what we're trying to get out of this is like, what are some tips or encouragement that you would give members who are interested in participating in LEAD next year, but maybe feel a little intimidated to get started? What are some different ways they can get involved throughout the year, and or what some advice would you have for them in just getting involved in LEAD specifically? And Ray, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Yeah, we've got a regional situation going on in SAAC. We call it GAC-SAAC, Government Action Council. And, I think it starts at home. I think the best thing is we've got an expo. We all have expos. We all have shows. And in those communities are community leaders, city council people, mayors. And when we're doing our show in Long Beach, we're going to make an expressed effort to reach out to the community leaders in that city and invite them to the expo. Share what we're doing, share what we're about. And I think it starts on the regional level. And then for leads, you've got to go. It is empowering. We keep using that word, but to go there and realize you have connections to the people who are making the choices for our country is huge. And we even in our group stopped by and had a great meeting, unexpected. We stopped by one of our Judy Chu, and we didn't have a meeting with her, but we stopped by and we told her what we're doing, and their people came out and made meticulous notes, and we gave them a cool little PPAI gift. And I thought the gifts were really good this year too. It was very special, stood out. It wasn't just a notebook and pen, which the year before felt like that's what anyone thinks it is. But it was a really great gift this year. And so, yeah, you should jump in and do it. Don't be intimidated. There's everybody has a great story. And so that's really what is powerful about us going there is we're telling our own personal story. It's not, hey, we want tariffs down. It's this is how the tariffs affected me. I had this client relationship or this interaction with a Canadian, and they said, no business with you, United States, until this administration's gone. So many Canadians have said that to me. So those personal stories make a difference, and then they'll use those personal stories in making the cases for passing anti-tariffs or lower tariff bills and all those things. But I think you should do it. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, and to go off that, Ray, you're 100% accurate as far as they want to hear our stories more than they want to hear the facts that we just shared on this slide.
Right.
They want to know, how did it impact my business? Because for better lack of words, they need those sound bites, because the sound bites is what attracts attention, and then the storyline follows it there. And so that is one of the biggest things I take away from that, is like all of these things that are happening to you throughout the year. Keep record of that, have those conversations, and you don't have to wait until you get to lead. You can have them at that local level that you guys are talking about. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it starts at the local level. Something, now that I'm the chair for NWPMA for advocacy, I started looking around at local events. We have one coming up on June 2nd, or excuse me, June 3rd, where we are invited to meet with a state senator and a state rep. So they're having like a little get together in White Center. And I'm like, hey, this is a great opportunity. We can tell our constituents, here's a chance to get in front of somebody in a very like safe space that's kid friendly too. So main thing is showing up and speaking. Like, I think that is the biggest thing. Is for me, my biggest thing is like, say yes. The worst thing can happen is you show up, you maybe fumble a little bit, but your team's going to pick you right up. And at the end of the day, the worst thing you can do is not show up.
Exactly. And you said team, and I think that is really important. You're paired together with a team, and that was a beautiful thing to see how someone would take the lead, and then it was just a natural handoff. Well, now this is a story about AGOA, or this is a story about independent business with Linda. And so you have great company to help you out, and don't be afraid, and you should go for it. That's what I say.
Thank you, Ray. Ashleigh, what advice do you have?
To be honest, really just piggybacking off of what you guys are saying, you just have to jump in. So I've been in the industry for about 10 years, and I come from a printing background, or at least that's the company that I am involved with. I'll also be third generation to one day take over the company. When I stepped in, I brought the apparel and the promo to the company. So I not only sat on an island as a distributor all by myself, like so many of us do, but I also didn't have anyone within my own company that knew anything about the industry. And so there was a lot of years where I just focused on my clients. I learned about the industry, I learned product, all of that. But for the last couple of years, I've really tried to become more involved. It's part of why I jumped in with the opportunity to become a board member for RMR. But this last year, I had the opportunity to do the lead event. I went to LDC last year, Palm Springs for one of the facilitate events. And the reason I was involved in all those is just because I said yes. I knew that in order for me to grow the way that I needed to grow to one day become an owner of a branding company, those are the things that you need to be involved in so that you understand all of this. Small businesses, we saw the stats. Small businesses make our world go round, and I think we are so often forgotten about because these larger conglomerates have the ability to maybe have a larger voice than some of us. So this this event that you guys do for us is such a good opportunity for us as small business is to be able to have that voice. So if you're itching for it, you just got to jump in. It's my advice.
Well, thank you, Ashleigh. I think you just brought such a unique perspective. And I'm so glad that you joined us this year, and I hope you join us next year as well. But I think if anybody's, and it's not just LEAD, Ashleigh mentioned LDC. That's a leadership development conference that PPA puts on every single year as well. I think PPA has just done a really good job of trying to grow us into being, better professionals, but growing together. And I also think that's just the new generation coming up. We're no longer gatekeeping, we're sharing how we do this. So I think that's really exciting to see over the next couple of years how that really transitions, and which leaders are going to rise to that as well. And so I'm just incredibly fortunate to be surrounded by great leaders and super thankful that each of you joined today. I do want to turn it over to the audience just for a little Q&A to see if anybody has any questions. And of course, if you guys don't have any questions or have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to Shay or myself. We'll be sending out a follow-up email as well with just some literature, some links of where you can get involved, where you can share your stories, so then we can take those stories back to lead with us next year. Let's hop over to the chat. All right, it looks like you guys are just praising us. Well, thank you. I love that chat over there. So if anybody wants to unmute, ask a question, feel free. Or
I've got one. Brandon from RMR here. I'm the president. Super proud of Ashleigh. She did a great job. I actually live out here in DC and got the chance to meet up with her in Sydney while you guys were in between meetings or even the days before, and had a great time. But Ray, I'd like to know just a little bit more too, because I think that's one of the things that the representatives get to hear from us once a year, and that's fantastic. But and they're also representative of a large area. So getting into your state and local governments, I'd like to hear a little bit more about like how SAAC and like what events they're actually bringing their representatives to, and what has shown success in doing that.
Well, I will say, I can't talk in past tense. This is something we're actively doing now. We have an event, factory tour in June that we're going to be getting some people in. One of our members is amazing. He does a lot of government contracts, and so he knows a lot of these local governments. And so we've got an in with people, which helps. And he's inviting people to that. And then our SAG Expo, which is going to be in Long Beach. We're going to definitely get people in there as well. And that's our goal. And for me, I just sort of heading this in the beginning, it was this big thing. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck I can do here. But what's really helped in doing the regional stuff is small bites. So we had big ideas. I mean, initially, I think we are still talking about going to Sacramento and getting a group together with Northern California and trying to do something together and making a presence here in the state. But I felt like we need to scale back and just go small bites. Once we get these small bites digested and we get that we've got a system for that, then we can try to look at Sacramento. What can we do there? How? And we have to figure that out. Like, why are we going to Sacramento? What are we trying to do? What are our goals? Just really breaking it down into small bite-sized pieces is a key. So hopefully, one step at a time, one bite at a time, will make a difference.
Yeah, and our legs in Ray's point is that we are trying to develop a system, as he mentions, that how to do it every month. Or our members are all across, California. So most of them are in Southern California. So kind of like you try to get those cities and city officials get into those ones. I live in the east city of Eastville, which is a very progressive city. And we are actually building a $2.5 billion downtown, which includes you can imagine how big is that going to be. So we try to get those. We just opened a Walmart here, and the city put a city branded merchandise in there. So a lot of those products you can see all around us. So we try to identify those areas and members of Congress. And coincidentally, my member of Congress just changed in redistricting this year, from Ken Culver to Congresswoman Norma Torres. It's not only changed the members of Congress, it just changed the party too. So we try to figure it out. Obviously we are, a nonpartisan group, and we try to approach that in DC as well as in local politics as well. But it's important to consider those ones, and obviously those people and their staffs are not policy experts. And, so that's why we try to, we are in the industry, we are professionals. We try to tell them, what it means and how that affects our city as well as our state, because almost 98% are small businesses. So those we are working on a system actually. So.
And Brandon, great question, by the way. Thank you for queuing it up. I think it's conversations like this where us as leaders are learning from each other. Like, hey, what's working over in your region that we can then bring over to our region? I had troubles last year when I was reaching out to constituents in Oregon because I live in Washington. They wanted a zip code in order for me to even get access. So I was like, I couldn't even invite them to our Oregon show. Well, then I reached out to Rachel. I said, hey, here's some of my barriers. And Rachel's like, oh, here's all the emails and phone numbers you need. So if I didn't reach out and say this was a problem I was having, I could have just stopped there. So it's like, if we are running into these hurdles, bring it back to all of us and let's work through these collectively together.
Well, and that's the representatives love to be a part of activities, right? My wife is chief of staff for Congresswoman Julie Johnson out of Texas. Unfortunately, because of redistricting, she just lost her seat. So I'll be moving from DC, most likely back to Texas again, but that's not going to stop us from being active in government. And that's one thing that Julie and most representatives love to do is they love to go on factory tours. They love to do kidding days. They love to do activities. They don't just want to stand behind a pulpit and give a speech. And so that's why I wanted to talk a little bit to Ray about that, because that's one of the things that I really think will be beneficial for RMR as well in Colorado, is getting some of the representatives out and seeing what we do in their backyard. So that's awesome, guys.
Absolutely. And getting them out to a show, then they can speak to 75 constituents instead of just one at a time. So again, and Brandon, were you on this panel last year? You're muted.
Yeah, I was. Okay. I went to lead last year. I didn't go to this year. One, scheduling conflict, and two, just wanted to make sure there's plenty of room for Ashleigh to shine. Because I always feel like I take up a lot of this space, especially with my connection to Congress through my wife. So it's just, I was really happy to see what everybody did this year. I'm definitely going to join next year. But yeah, I think advocacy for our industry isn't just one day, but I'm really happy that LEAD puts this on so that we can at least get in front of those people and get those emails and get those contacts so that we can get those representatives in front of their constituents and our members. I think that's super powerful.
Definitely. And sorry, I wasn't trying to call you out. I just recognized you from last year. So Mark, I see you politely have your hand up. Go for it. You're muted a little bit, Mark. By a little, I mean a lot.
Now?
Good to go.
Is that better now?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to mention, and I had a unique opportunity to be a multi-line representative and was supportive of a number of regionals. And so my, the database, let's just say, was huge. I mean, all the way from Albuquerque to, Anchorage, whatever. But what I found in my travels after starting to attend LEAD, even though we may have not had a visiting distributor or supplier that came in from Montana, Alaska, or Hawaii, I was uniquely able to mention at a couple of these traveling events that we got out there that the local distributors, hey, you can contact your local representative's office or your senator's office in your state. PPAI has some amazing resources for you. You can reach out, they'll get them to you. And if you want to just open a conversation locally here, you can be that voice, even though you may not be going to DC. You can make an impact in your local community at these branch offices, because every senator has 4 to 6 offices around the state, and every representative has multiple offices. And they can schedule meetings when they're on their return visits home, and they'll give you, the representative will give you time if you get on the calendar. And I saw it happen. I saw it happen in Honolulu and in Anchorage, that again, we didn't have a traveler from those states, but we had local distributors that wanted to get engaged with their offices, and it worked. So thanks.
Thank you. That's such a great point to share. All right, well, I'm going to give everybody 6 minutes of their day back. Again, thank you so much for joining today. Everybody earned themselves a CEU credit. We'll get that noted. Again, the fight starts now. It's all year long. Don't wait till this time next year. So if you have any questions, you're still hesitant, you don't know where to get started, please reach out to me or anybody that was on this call. We'll be more gladly than put you in the right direction and take you under our wing. Well, everybody have a great day, and thank you so much again.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Bye, guys.
Good
Bye.
seeing everyone.